Good morning and welcome to Man Talk. I am your host, Susan Joroge. So excited to get into today's episode with you. Thank you so much for joining me right here on KTN Home. I want you guys to use the hashtag Man Talk and the hashtag KTN Life and Style when we are discussing things online or socials as the episode goes so that I can be able to see all your posts and all your tweets. Now, of course, I have to shout out Sankara. We are shooting right here. It's an incredible hotel space in the middle of Westlands, a wonderful central location, amazing business room spaces, great food, cocktails, a sunroof bar, and did I mention the location was convenient? So do be sure to drop by, give them a visit. They've been so nice and so wonderful to host us for Man Talk. And as usual, I'd like to shout out my stylist, Wendy. We are still rocking the jumpsuits for Man Talk, and I really appreciate it. Now, before we go meet my guests, today we are discussing men and gospel. Gospel music right here in the 254 is an incredible genre that does so much for us in our community, and I'm going to be discussing with and talking with some men who work in this industry, okay? Now, I wanted to share a quote in light with this, set you off into the weekend real nice. God writes the gospel, but not in the Bible alone. He also writes it on trees and in the flowers, the clouds, and the stars. This is a quote by Martin Luther. And I also believe he writes it in the men that sing and preach the word of gospel. Let's go and finally say hello and meet my guests. Welcome back again. I am seated with my guests, the men in gospel. This is Man Talk, and we are going to be discussing gospel music, but I'm here to learn today, and I'm going to be speaking to the gentlemen about it. All right? Now, let me kick off introductions with the gentleman I'm seated right next to, DJ Mem.
Yes, thank
Welcome.
you, Susan. Thank you so much.
Of course, your DJ Mems will give a clue as to what you do, but I know you have
yes.
many other roles under that hat.
Yeah,
You want to share them, please?
No worries, no worries. So what's up, guys? My name is DJ Mems, and I'm born again. I'm a gospel DJ, to be precise. Apart from that, I'm a business person. I deal with car hire services and a company called Royal Prince Empire. I'm the CEO. And also I do entertainment, events. I have a sound system for hire and stuff. Nice. And so many other things.
I like it.
Yes, apart from that, I'm also a dad. Yes, so I wear so many hats.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for coming through to the show. Really appreciate it.
Anytime.
Moji Short Baba, welcome back again.
Thank you so much.
were actually on like our first episodes of Man Talk. You're an OG of Man Talk.
I'm here, just following up, follow up with the growth.
Yes, to see how I'm growing.
See how you guys are doing.
I really appreciate it. You recently got married. Congratulations.
Yeah,
it was so beautiful from what we saw on the socials.
Thank you so much. I can assure you that it was on the ground.
It was as beautiful. It's good to know. It's good to know.
Yeah.
Now, you're also going to be leading on now with some new wisdom, because now you're a married man. When you first came, you weren't. So really looking forward to that.
I hope so.
And then we have Gavi Royal, also an award-winning musician. Thank you so much for coming through to the show.
I appreciate. So basically, my name is Gavi Royal, a dancehall artist, multi-award-winning artist, CEO Royal Car Wash. So happy to be here back again.
So
nice.
let's kick it off with, right at the beginning, let's just start at your journeys. What made you want to pursue gospel music, and is that where you started? Just for anybody that might not but for anybody that might be meeting you today for the first time, DJ Means, when you started off, did you start off in gospel straight away? How did you end up in gospel?
Well, I've been raised in a church foundation from way back. So my dad is a church elder.
Okay.
My mom is also a very strong leader in the church.
Yeah.
So I've been brought up in church.
Okay.
So basically, I'll say that's where I started. And now, when I now grew and realized what I wanted to do, I really wanted to become a DJ. And the DJ school that I went, they were only teaching gospel. It was a totally gospel DJing school.
Ah.
So it also molded me, and I felt this is the place to be.
Okay.
But then after that, when you're young and when you're doing these things, you think that everything is you're going to finish the DJing course and immediately start working.
Yes.
But now, when the reality hits, that's when you realize now things are different. So after that, I stayed for quite a while. Nothing is happening, no shows, no nothing. until I almost forgot the skills. And I decided now to join another group that was doing some reggae shows in clubs. So
Okay.
yeah, I've done so many reggae shows in clubs, but I felt my heart was not there. I felt this is not the place I want to be, because what I believe in is not what I'm doing.
Right.
So I later came back, and again I decided, no, I'm not going to do these things, and I joined a group that was now doing
Gospel.
Yes, I don't want to mention names, but they molded me, and until I became the person I am. Yes, I joined TV, and this is where we are now.
I really like it. And
Yeah.
also, it's amazing to share that part of your story, because I think sometimes people assume
Yeah.
that, you know, you have the skills,
Yeah.
you have the ability, and
Yeah.
even the privilege to be able to go to a DJing school. So kama hawezi uko nje, it's like it's you, but actually it's quite hard. And I
Yeah,
like that
true.
in the hustle you also interacted with other different genres. And you
Yes.
did reggae and everything, because
Yeah.
that was the opportunity that was
It's
there.
a journey. You know, I don't take anything for granted. Even that space that I was in, the secular, I'll say secular industry, I learned so much.
Yeah.
And I met so many people, and I think it was just God's connection to where I am today. You know, God can take you through so many places to reach your destiny.
Right.
Yes, so I don't take that for granted. I don't think it was a mistake.
Yeah.
I don't regret anything
Right.
I've done. Yeah. So I think it was just part of the journey. Yes.
I like that. Now, Garvey,
Yeah.
with dancehall, watu sasa wanaanza kuimagine vitu zingine. Hawawezi kuimagine it's in gospel. So talk to us to that connection when you started off your journey in music.
Yeah.
Were you a reggae head? Were you a dancehall head? And then you decided that you wanted to make the gospel version of what you would want to listen to, or how did you get there?
So basically my journey started in back in high school. I remember back in high school I used to love reggae music and
Yes.
dancehall music, and I used to love reggae and dancehall a lot. And I remember one time when I was in form 1, I used to sing reggae music, chanting dancehall tunes, and guys used to love it.
Yeah.
And so I don't remember at any point singing a secular song. I used to sing gospel tunes. I remember singing Papa San. Papa San is a great dancehall gospel artist. And so basically my journey started there. So from there I joined a group in our church, Kahawa West. And it was one of the biggest dance crews in this country. It was called Igniters Dancers. Igniters Dancers basically were gospel dancers, and that's how my journey started as musically.
Yeah.
So musically, as a dancer, I used to dance with artists. I was behind, so I was learning.
Yes.
Remember, it is a process.
Yeah.
So at some point, after I think growing up, I remember singing. I remembered singing in high school, and so I started my career as an artist. I remember the first tune I did was with my producer Magic Mike, which later got nominated for Groove Award.
Yes.
So I started on a good note, and that was a guarantee that God wanted me to do this.
Yeah.
And that's how I started as a gospel dancehall artist.
That's amazing. And an incredible story. I like it.
Thank you.
Now, Moji, you've obviously shared your story on
Yeah.
the show before, but do you
Yeah.
mind sharing it again for anyone who might not know?
Okay, so I think telling me like my interest started when I was way younger, and then like all these guys have also been raised in church.
Yeah.
So like Bible says that if you raise a child in a certain way, it's hard for the child to depart when
To
they grow
deviate
up.
from that path,
Yeah,
yes.
so for me, growing up in church, I think that foundation really was really strong in me. So hata sidhani nilikuwa na option ya kuimba anything else. It was either gospel or gospel.
Yes.
So yeah, so I started young, and in high school I met a friend called Didi Man, and we started a group called Kelele Takatifu in Senior Chief Koinange. That's like over 10 years now.
Yeah.
We're getting old. Yeah, and we finished high school, did our thing for a couple of years, and did some great songs. Of course, tukapitia struggles za kawaida.
Yeah.
Until people came to know Kelele Takatifu through songs like Ngori, through songs like Mama Mbaya and Noma. And we did that for a few years, and then I think almost 3 years ago, we went our separate ways. And that's when we started our solo careers.
Yeah.
And that's when now I started, pushing Moji Shot Babas. So, and I've been a solo artist for 3 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it has been a great ride.
Well, thank you for sharing your stories, gentlemen. Now, I want us to talk about Kenya in comparison to maybe even our East African brothers and sisters. When you see the gospel industry there, do you think it's harder to make it in the 254 as a gospel artist when you compare to our neighbors, Tanzania, Uganda, Rwanda in your experience, and is it different when you perform in the neighboring countries as opposed to the 254? Because you know, rates of performance can change even depending with the country or the season, maybe when you're performing.
Yeah, true.
How would you compare them?
Personally, I'd say in East Africa, I think Kenya is the best when ranked in the gospel industry, because you can't compare with Tanzania.
Yeah.
You can mention just a handful of artists from Tanzania or from Uganda in the gospel industry, but in Kenya we have so many artists doing big things. So I think in East Africa, when it comes to
Sisi ndio
gospel,
number one.
sisi ndo tumeshikilia pale. And I think struggles are the same everywhere.
Yeah.
When you talk to artists in Kenya, they'll share the same issues as an artist from Tanzania. But I think it's not as hard to make it in the gospel industry in Kenya as it is in Uganda or in Tanzania. I think we are way much better than them. Yeah.
I think also our language must help. You know, you're
true.
singing in English and in Kiswahili, and so a lot of our neighbors tend to
advantage.
speak,
Yeah,
so
true.
they can be able to understand and
but-
share that music. We have big vernacular gospel artists
Yeah.
in our various African countries, because of course our vernacular language is very close to us,
Yeah.
and everybody understands within your community. You know, it gives you a sense of camaraderie,
exactly,
plus the gospel unasikia hoko peke
Yeah,
yako.
because even hata Kenya, unasemanga like even urban artists, you know, could be here thinking, wow, we're all that. And then you go to like Kisii,
It's
and you
wild.
find there's an artist there you've never heard of.
That
but-
is killing
but
the
that
game.
has 2 million views on YouTube.
Wow.
You get, and plays every day on the vernacular station.
And has a place to perform every
In
weekend.
Drives a Prado,
Yeah.
you know, and stuff like that. So I guess the segmentation also, there are different segmentations in every country. So
Yeah.
if you dig deep, Uganda, Tanzania, unapata urban gospel, ndio Kenya tumekuwa
Top,
bigger,
top, top, yeah.
like
It's a bit
urban
more
gospel,
forward.
like wase wa Yanka, sisi tuko wengi. And then when you say about making it now for urban artists, inakuwa hard because juu watu ni wengi. Kuna
Yes.
stiff competition, ama
Yes.
not competition per se, but watu ni wengi, options ni kibao, so guys have a lot to choose from.
Yeah.
Utapata other countries, maybe the big urban artists, maybe big urban gospel artists in certain countries sio wengi.
Yes.
So yeah, so ina vibrancy yao iko chini, but unapata ule mwenye ako juu sana
Sana,
because,
yes, and the
hakuna
others
wengi.
are really
Yeah,
hustling
so
to get to
really,
the top.
It's really different. I don't know, we can't speak entirely about other countries because, you know, venye nimesema hata saa hii like even in our country
Yes.
kuna msanii wa gospel Mombasa mwenye mimi sijui na maybe huko yeye ndio the like
And he's the thing, he's the
hakuna
kingpin
kitu
huko.
inafanyikaga,
Without his say so.
yeah.
I like what you brought on that different angle, pia your languages. For you doing dancehall, the genre of dancehall, even when my mom hears it, I mean, like dancehall artists, probably Vybz Kartel is the one artist that you'd say, and even our mothers know Vybz Kartel.
Vybz
They may not
Kartel,
know what he looks like or anything, we'll be able to say a song lakini anajulikana.
True.
So with you doing dancehall,
Yeah.
how do you bridge that gap between dancehall is known as, you know, secular music, and specifically it can be a little downgrading towards women. That conversation has happened.
Yeah.
It also advocates for a lot of gang violence.
Yeah.
There's a lot of violence that's talked about in dancehall. I do a reggae and dancehall show,
Sure.
and I try to balance between, you know, what maybe the music is preaching and what should actually be a positive message to society. So
Yeah,
wewe
yeah,
sasa ukifanya dancehall in the dancehall gospel, and you're booking a gig, and the person hears dancehall, and they're like, stuck. How do you handle that? How do you go about it?
But it's so true that guys who despise dancehall sana, especially in this country, because I think ile notion wamesikia about dancehall music, vile umesema gangster, violence,
Yeah.
Women, undergrading women. It's true, hizi vitu zote zime happen because the original source of dancehall is Jamaica.
Yeah.
That's what they do. But when it comes to our side, in the gospel side, I think each topic tukiendelea, we'll discuss about the content in our jams. So content is what differentiates everything. You as a dancehall artist, what are you singing? What's the message on this jam? How's your lifestyle? So when someone sees Gavi Royal as a dancehall artist, anaishi aje kama Gavi Royal, ana inspire generation aje, ngoma zake ni nini zinaongelelea, and that's what cut across. Not necessarily in dancehall, every gospel artist, what are we singing?
Yeah.
How is our lifestyle? And I think that this is the major topic that we will be discussing today, because that's the major difference our
In
gospel
music,
side
yeah.
and the secular side.
Yeah, very, very true. And you've hit the nail on the head. It is totally about content.
Yeah.
And so now let me ask the daring question. Not the one we said I would ask at the beginning. Is, do you guys think it's fair that gospel artists are held to a different standard when it comes to their lifestyle and the choices that they make to secular artists? Because secular artists have the freedom kusema, by the missing role model. Like, that's not my aim, that's not my goal.
True.
I am making music for adults. It's supposed to be consumed by adults. It has adult themes. So you guys, you know, it's PG rated or whatever. Role model and raise your children. That's not my job. A secular artist has freedom to say that, and no one will say that they are wrong. But a gospel artist don't. You don't have that space. Your lifestyle directly will affect how people will see your music. Do you think that's fair? Do you think gospel artists should be left to their own devices? Kama mtu anatengeneza gospel, wewe sikiliza wimbo, achana na maisha ya mtu.
Well, I'd say, you know, everybody will be accountable for everything that you do under the sun.
That's true.
Yeah, so as gospel ministers, what are we preaching? Can we be accountable of what we are saying? You understand? So that's what sets the standard. Because you cannot be preaching about, you can't be preaching water and taking wine.
Yeah.
So what you're preaching, are you living the same thing you're preaching? So that's how we are going to gauge you. That's how we are going to that's where now we set the standards, because
there's a message in the music. The music is asking you to live your life a certain way.
Exactly. And as a gospel minister, as an artist, you can't say I'm not going to be a role model to anyone. You understand? There are so many people who are watching you. There are so many people who admire you. So if you mislead them, you'll be accountable for that. Yes, but I don't know much about the secular industry. But for gospel, I think if you are if you truly believe and you're truly an artist who've been called, and you know what you're doing, you should be accountable for your lifestyle, your message, and what you preach.
Right.
That's my personal
But you
view.
see, that said, yes, we have content. Content is a constant in this conversation.
Yeah.
But we have our own challenges. I think he speaks as a DJ, but me as a gospel artist,
That's
I think
kiti moja.
Okay, your side.
I think we have major challenges. I think major challenges.
Right.
Ndio hizi vitu zote tukifanya, yes tunaimba content, yes wasema naona sisi ni role models, but zile vitu tunapitia I think ndio zinafanya argument inakuwa ni gospel artist. Nini mse anafanya?
Right.
Because ya zile vitu tunapitia. So me, I think I have points that zile challenges me personally I think gospel artists wanna go through.
Yeah.
And my first point I think I'll start with identity. Most of the gospel artists unapata wameshindwa kujiaccept, wanafanya vitu kufit in the other world. Unaweza pata gospel artist anaimba content, music yake ni cool, but ameona hii secular artist ameona kupost kiona shore ama kuna dem hapa ni
ulikuwa na kapoa, likes are more than mine, engagement ni higher than mine.
So yeye anaona acha nipostie mimi na dem labda watabonga. Second, unapata labda anaona mimi kuhang out na wase wanaka cool. Bado tuko kwa secular moja ya gospel. So mimi nikihang out na kina moja, jiko kina moja ukakula madem. I think inifiti sana. Hiyo ni identity crisis.
Right.
Until ile point tutakuja kaa chini to identify ourselves. Zile who am I as a person? Who am I as Gavirol? Who is Moji as Moji? That's how we will start growing. Second point, I think pia vitu kama I think hii ni major, like, but sexual temptations hiyo ni major. I think every gospel artist amepitia, which
also I feel like gospel artists are the ones whose DMs are blowing up, because as a lady you'll be like, oh my God, he is in the presence of God, why am I going to these others? Now you amepata Mungu already kwa church. You know, as a lady, a gospel artist will be very marketable as somebody you want to date.
True. Nilikuwa naona an article wanasema ati nyinyi wasi wa gospel nyinyi chomota kuliko secular. Si atuchomi, ni cause secular mseki choma actually mnampraise. Wewe ni mjanja.
Exactly.
Like for example, sanda taja Timmy. Okay, akikapa na dem na dance hapa na dem amemkalia.
Yes.
Timmy ni mnoma. Wewe uliona but moja akipatikana hata tawa akitembea karibu na msichana, yani ile mle kumejaa jam.
Hata venye atamwangalia.
Utasikia hapo wameanza kusema Moji was found grinding on a chick, na ni mat zilikuwa zimejaa.
It's true.
So I think hizi ndio vitu tunafaa kuangalia. Si ati tunachoma, but tunapitia hizi challenges. Identity, sexual temptation, and many more. I think hizi ndio vitu.
I like that.
Yeah.
Moji, when you were on my show last time, because we talked a little bit about relationships and everything, we actually talked about being private when you're in the limelight with your relationship, you know, with what's going on with you with your family or what might be happening with you with your girlfriend. And the reason that you were so adamant about learning why it's important to be private. And you are actually quite a private guy. On your socials, you push your music, your works, but we won't see much of your outside life. Of course, you shared, you know, your wedding with us and everything, because that one was in front of God, government, family. You know, so there's no need to not take the pictures. You might as well. But going forward, have you found like now after your marriage, of course it was, you know, very good press and everything, but are you being bombarded more?
First of all, to answer the first question, is it fair
Yes.
that people are judged a certain way?
You guys are held to a different standard.
I'm like, okay, it's not a question of it being fair or not. You see, if nika wewe, you're just chilling with your friends. And then you come say, guys, I'm a vegetarian. You know, from now on, I'm a vegetarian.
I don't eat meat.
I don't eat meat. So from there on, these guys will start holding you accountable to that, to what you say, right? So mkienda mahali uko like, oh, usiweke unyama. Right?
Yeah, you were spoken for prior. Hata nikienda shopping.
Ukisema nataka nyama kiasi wanasema, ai, kuna nyama. So the same thing about gospel artists. When you come and identify yourself as a gospel artist, say I'm a gospel artist.
Yes.
It means there's a set standard you have set for yourself. There's a set standard already set by society for people who identify as Christians and as gospel artists. So if you identify yourself as a gospel artist first,
prepare
yourself that there are set standards in people's heads, in society, that they believe a gospel artist should behave a certain way, a gospel artist should speak a certain way, should dress a certain way, kulingana na mahali wametoka. Kuna places again wenye wanaamini lazima uvae suti, so nikikamna short hivi ni normal. Kuna place wanaamini lazima tukue a certain way. So that's wanasema hata si Kenya tumepush envelope sana in terms of kuna wenye wako na dreads, kuna wenye so already kuna hiyo set standard. So ukimistep kidogo inakuwa ngori, right? So I guess what we should talk about is gospel artists kuelewa about that set standard one, with the responsibility that comes with you being a gospel artist. And then the other people to know that these gospel artists that will make his standard are still human beings. Right? So his standard equals very high sometimes for a normal human being who has mistakes.
I'm giving more pressure for you guys than for myself as Susan. Me, if I make a mistake, I'll be like, I'm a Christian, but I am a son of God and I sin. I am to be forgiven. Like in emoji, I'm a Gavi. I'm talking. I'm like, he should even stop being a gospel artist. Don't tell me you're a gospel artist again.
Exactly. So the artists should not be mad at the people. They should know, okay, maybe guys are under pressure. They expect me to live out ile life yenye maybe hao ni too hard for them when I get. Now for the people, they should also understand.
Try to be understanding.
So inamaanisha lazima kukuwe na like a balance. So msanii asisukume envelope sana. You know, like pia wewe usifanye vitu ati I'm human. So you're here doing crazy things. Ati hata me I'm not perfect. Ne umse asi expect yani hata uwezi kohoa. Unajua like exactly like you can't like so much like you know anything, you can't do anything. So basically that's it. So and it's pressure and not pressure.
There's balance. If there's balance,
so for the artist, if you understand the responsibility, it means you know what to be private about. You know what to say. You know
how to behave.
It will guide you. And then for the people, watakuwa like if they understand that these are also humans in Amanisha, when you make an error, they will be a bit understanding. So when it comes to like being private and stuff like that. Yes, in fact, that set standard inanipushigi kwa a bit private. Because again, I don't know what I blow out of proportion.
And once it's out there, you can't bring it back.
Exactly. So in terms of being private, and somebody will ask me, how have you managed to be so private? It's very easy. Just don't post. You see, like our biggest challenge as young people, not even as Christians, as young people in this country, is social media.
You want to post everything. You want it to be amazing. You want it to be under the correct filter.
Exactly.
Relax is what Moji said.
Like you're getting so much pressure from just social media. So if there's something that is so sensitive to you, before if you have to post it when you're ready.
Right.
Right? Because if you post your house, there are people who say, wow, such a nice house, and they'll hate you for that.
Yes.
Ama
There are
gaga-
others who say, guy, even
Unaishi
you are
hivyo,
naishi.
unaishi.
Aya. On that note, we are going to take a short break.
Kwa kizizi.
When we come back, I'm going to be with the men in gospel. We are discussing more. If you guys want to holler at us, please use the hashtag ManTalk and the hashtag KTN Life and Style. Remember that we have our text line right here on the screen, 22151. If you want to text us anything about the show or you want to be a guest, please do that. I'll see you after the break.